Welcome back. Now for your 5-day weather forecast, we go outside to Carissa Wilson.
After yesterday's snow squalls, the rest of this week will be calmer. However, Environment Canada is predicting that this cold weather will continue throughout March. Even though the temperature will be rising tomorrow, the rest of the week will remain below zero. Now here's your 5-day weather forecast. Tomorrow will be a sunny day reaching a high of -15 and a low of -11. Tomorrow we'll have scattered flurries with a high of 0 and a low of -9. Flurries will continue on Sunday with a high of -8 and a low of -14. Monday will be mainly sunny with a high of -10 and a low of -16. And Tuesday we'll see a few flurries with a high of -9 and a low of -18. Be sure to bundle up outside today as it feels like -24. I know I'm counting down the days until summer. That's it for your 5-day weather forecast. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Carissa. Turning now to national and international news, suspects in the murder of Loretta Saunders appeared in court today. The body of the 26-year-old was found in New Brunswick on Wednesday. She had been missing since February 13th. Blake Leggett and Victoria Henneberry have been charged with first-degree murder. They were originally arrested Wednesday for the theft of Saunders' car and were charged with murder last night. Leggett and Henneberry lived with Saunders in Halifax. They will be back in court March 19th.
Vince Lee can leave his mental hospital without an escort. Lee stabbed and beheaded Tim McLean, a 19-year-old passenger on a Greyhound bus in 2008. He was found not criminally responsible because he's schizophrenic. Peter Van Loan, a Tory MP, says the crime was particularly brutal and the past is troubling. A statement from the Prime Minister's office calls the decision an insult to the victim. The Criminal Code Review Board says Lee can go into the nearby city of Selkirk. The outings will last for 30 minutes and over time could increase to full days.
Armed gunmen have seized 2 airports in the Crimea region of Ukraine. Sevastopol and Simferopol have been occupied by troops with no insignia on their uniforms. Ukraine's interior minister says the gunmen in Sevastopol are Russian naval troops because the airport houses part of the Black Sea Fleet. After other officials denied the allegations, the Russian Foreign Ministry has now confirmed the gunmen in Sevastopol are Russian troops. Despite the occupation, Simferopol remains open.
And more on Ukraine, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister John Baird has announced $200,000 in medical aid for the country. Baird is currently in Ukraine as part of a delegation sent by the Conservative government. He is meeting with Ukraine's new president today.
And a group of Russian bikers called the Night Wolves is headed to Ukraine, according to a French news agency. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ridden with the group and in the past has called them his brothers. The bikers say they're going to Ukraine to back pro-Russian protests. The Night Wolves oppose the new Ukrainian government, and a message on its website says they are ready to die like warriors.
And now with your sports news, here's Mark McKelvey.
The mission is simple at the OCAA Basketball Championships. Win and you're still in. And that's what the men's and women's teams did yesterday in the quarterfinals of the Provincial Championships. For the Humber men, strong defense helped the Hawks control from start to finish, defeating Seneca 71-53. The men face Algonquin in the semifinals tonight at Sheridan College. As for the Lady Hawks, a slow second quarter was reversed by a strong second half to defeat Sheridan 67-55. Alina Domingo led the way for Humber with 14 points and 20 rebounds. Tonight they'll face Mohawk in the OCAA semifinals. The Toronto Raptors and Washington Wizards made history at the ACC last night. It took triple overtime to find a winner, with the Wizards being the last team standing, pulling out a 134-129 victory. The extended game got to the Raps first with Amir Johnson, Patrick Patterson, and Kyle Lowry all fouling out. The Wizards' defense got the best of the Raptors late in the third overtime, with John Wall coming up with a steal and feeding it to Martell Webster to seal the deal. Raptor Terrence Ross left the game with a sprained ankle. The game took 3 hours and 32 minutes to play, setting a new Raptors franchise record for longest game played. Up next for Toronto is Golden State on Sunday. The Toronto Maple Leafs got back to work last night against the New York Islanders. In the third period, with the game tied 3-3, Joffrey Lupul finishes off a nice give-and-go to put the Leafs ahead by 1. But with under 3 to go, Ryan Strome puts the puck in front to Anders Lee, who jams it in for his second of the game and to send it to overtime. In OT, a bouncing puck comes to Lubomir Visnovsky in the high slot. He hammers it past Jonathan Bernier to give the Islanders a 5-4 victory. The Leafs now head to Montreal to face the Habs tomorrow night. Perhaps lost in the shuffle of the return of the NHL is a Stadium Series game this Saturday. The Chicago Blackhawks will be hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins at Soldier Field. 2,500 gallons of hot chocolate is expected to be served, along with 12,000 famous Chicago hot dogs. Puck drop is 8 p.m. Lastly, I know you're keeping track, and yes, the Blue Jays are still undefeated in spring training. The Jays defeated the Philadelphia Phillies 7-5 with Jose Bautista leading the way. The Slugger had 3 extra base hits and 3 RBIs in the victory. Toronto will look to remain perfect today as they host the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's it for sports. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Mark. After the break, we'll get the latest in entertainment from John Mace.
Coming up on your entertainment update, a preview of the Oscars this Sunday, and the White House hosts the Youth Film Festival. All this and more after the break.